This is the second time in 16 years Real Madrid have failed to win a major trophy 2 seasons in a row. Why weren't they able to do it this season?
Because they didn't address their main concern, which is find that rhythm maker beyond the Toni Kroos, Luka Modric era. It was very apparent. And it feels like they tried to solve those issues in-house with a Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde, whoever, Arda Güler. But none have really fit the profile of a deeper lying midfielder to kind of keep the ball going, like a Subimendi, perhaps. They, in these last 2 years, you know who was the guy that, to me, in my opinion, from all the games that I've watched Madrid play, come closest to be able to give that rhythm to Real Madrid?
Who?
Dani Ceballos.
Yeah, that's a good chat.
Between January to February of last year, he started playing really well, and we went, well, he's doing something that everybody else isn't, which is moving the ball for Real Madrid, giving them a little bit more tempo, building out of the back, giving them football. And then he got injured, and then never again. To me, that's the most glaring area of concern that Real Madrid need to address.
So why don't we address fixing Real Madrid? Lahoud, you're going to be making the case as to which players will be there next season and which players won't be. So why don't we get out the way who you think will definitely be there and who you think definitely will not be there come next season?
Yeah, Hannah, so we're going to start with the locks. And I just want to add to what Nico said. I agree with the deep-lying playmaker, but this team lacks personality. This team lacks cohesion. It's very imbalanced. And this is what you get when you have the new age Galacticos. You get some locks, you get some keeps, players you're going to keep as part of the project moving forward, at least for next season, maybe even beyond. Players who maybe they don't have it yet to be a Real Madrid player, but you're going to loan. Some players you can sell and cash in on, you can think of a few, and some players who are going to be out. So we're going to go with the obvious ones. I know Madrid fans are frustrated as hell with Kylian Mbappe. I'm frustrated with Kylian Mbappe, seeing a lack of just a focus, a lack of just cutting edge in the final third. And I feel crazy saying that, given that he scored against Alaves, but he hasn't looked like the Kylian Mbappe at the start of the season. Arda Güler, the Bayern Munich match, and the fact that he's coming into his own, he is a lock for me. I think that he will build up. Jude Bellingham, back healthy, had a good performance. Fede Valverde is Real Madrid. He's arguably their best player, arguably their most important player. Eder Militao, I know that his health is in question, got injured again, but for me, he is the best available defender when he's healthy. And Dean Howson made me believe again that he could be one for the present next season. Of course, Thibaut Courtois, as I said, the most important player. Him and Fede definitely share that. The players who are out. Denny Carvajal, he has been an absolute servant. Club legend for me with what he's done in that right back role. Leadership void needs to be filled. He's going to be out. He's out of contract. Denny Ceballos, the sooner he can get out the door, the better. For what you said about that cameo that he had last season, he just doesn't look like he belongs at the club.
Yeah, I agree.
Gonzalo Garcia, for me, it's so disappointing. We watched the Club World Cup, and this was supposed to be his moment to shine. He needs to leave to get games, Nico.
What, the season was supposed to be his moment to shine?
Yeah, I thought this was going to be get in there, be a player that can make an impact, at least off the bench.
The conversation we were having in the summer was, is he really going to be playing? Like, typical Real Madrid, where you have a player from the youth ranks, kills it at the Club World Cup, smashes it, is wowing all of us. The narrative was, is Xabi really going to be playing him over Mbappe and Vinicius? No chance. He got cameo roles. He actually was pretty good in the cameo roles.
Yeah.
But for Real Madrid, that you want to have the best players in the world, not the best player from Castilla. You want to have the best players in the world. To me, it was obvious, and it was obvious to us in the summer that he wasn't going to be playing a major role. Unfortunately, about Dani Carvajal, I get the health issues. It feels like this Madrid team, beyond like Valverde, doesn't have a Real Madrid emblem in the dressing room. And I feel like at a club the size of Real Madrid, you need somebody that truly understands, that bleeds, that breathes, that feels the emblem of the club. And beyond Valverde,
is there anyone on the right side?
Who's really that guy?
What about the guy at the top, Antonio Rudiger, right?
No, bro.
He's almost become like a cult hero.
Sure, cult hero.
I think you keep him.
But Valverde is more of that figure than Rudiger is, and Carvajal is more of that figure than Valverde is. Bro, Carvajal set the very first stones at Valdebebas at the training ground, and Di Stefano called him up to like the podium. Carvajal represents so much more than just a right back that's getting older. You know, Nacho was kind of that guy for really long for Real Madrid, and I don't need Nacho to be playing. Nacho can come in every so often and he plays all right, and he actually did it pretty decently for himself. He's not a world-class center back or world-class fullback, whatever he played, but he understood what Real Madrid was. And I think there's something there in the dressing room when you have a cause. You need somebody to be the flag bearer of that cause.
Well, they need a pallbearer for their season. So you're talking so much sense right now. Aurélien Tchouaméni, he's been inconsistent at times, but given the players that you need in that defensive midfield role, I say you keep him. There's been rumors that, okay, he might be on the market, and I think it's probably an emotional reaction after the Bayern Munich knockout in the Champions League. Endrick is the next one up. Endrick has been cooking for Lyon in Liga. For me, you bring him back, you keep him.
Agreed.
You absolutely keep, especially if you're going to play a 4-3-3. Whatever manager comes in next, you need him because he's versatile.
100%.
You play out wide.
You don't need to convince me.
Nico Paz. You absolutely get him back in the club, keep. Not a conversation. Eduardo Camavinga, come on down. I think it's time. I think you sell him.
Okay.
I think you sell him, you cash in. There's a Premier League club. There might be an Italian club. There might be any club.
Especially after the red card, it feels like he's persona non grata in the Bernabeu right now.
Yeah, the one that's interesting for me, Trent Alexander-Arnold. What have you made of his performances?
Bro. I don't care if he's been bad. You're losing Carvajal. You need a top right back. Like, Trent is a good right back.
Yeah.
And I think his connection with Mbappe, just because it was one bad season, I think you can keep on sharpening that. I would not get rid of Trent.
Brahim Díaz is someone who, Brahim, when he went on loan for me, he grew up a bit, right? And I would be really intrigued to see if you're going to keep Endrick, if you're going to bring in Nico Paz. I don't see much playing time for Brahim. If he wants to be part of the club, I would loan him out. If not, I sell him.
I think so too, because and it's less about Real Madrid. It's more about what Brahim Díaz wants. Brahim is so good, he could start on this Real Madrid team. Every time he plays well, or at least the large majority of the time, enough to make us perceive that he is the ultimate super sub. He can start in many top clubs around Europe. Does he still want to be on loan at Real Madrid? I'm going to come back for what? The situation to be the same?
Yeah.
You think he's going to go on loan somewhere and then come back and start in Real Madrid? No. Or at least I don't think so. If I'm Brahim, I don't know. I would find somewhere where I can show my quality for 90 minutes week in, week out, and he could be the guy. He's grown.
I would love to see him, depending on what happens with Isco next, I would love to see him at a club like Betis, right? Isco is probably going to be there, who knows? But if Isco says, you know what, I've had my time in Andalusia, I'm done, I'm going to go back to Malaga at the beach, have a couple sangrias, I would love to see him.
I mean, crazy that this guy was already been at Man City, right? At Milan. I don't know, like, he's good.
Yeah, so Franco Mastantuono, come on down. You're going on loan. He just doesn't look like he's ready for the big stage. And this is Carreras for me, a player that had so much promise at the start of the season, right? I think you still keep him because next season, Ferland Mendy will be your starting fullback. And Ferland Mendy can't stay healthy, but he's a big game player. Carreras is a good squad player.
Yeah, and honestly, if he doesn't have one more good season, it's great. They paid a lot of money for him. Bro, there was a ball over the top yesterday from Alaves.
Yeah, remember
where he turns this way and he's looking at the ball like that, and he just sticks out his leg, and the Alaves player beats him. And it's like 101 defending. The Real Madrid left back can't get beat so easily over the top from a ball cross pitch. It could have been Alaves 1-0 7 minutes in. Yeah, unfortunately, we had higher expectations of him, and he hasn't met them, like, by a lot, I think.
Okay, so now that we're almost there, we need to get to the alpha in the room. Vinny Jr.
Okay.
Vinny Jr. under Arbeloa looked like he was revived, right?
Can we just take care of business here very quickly?
Okay, before we get to Vinny,
sorry, guys.
Rodrygo.
Keep because he's injured. You're not going to be able to. I would have said sell, but he's injured. So what are you going to do?
When he comes back in say January, he comes back. You still keep?
you're not going to sell him until next summer.
Yeah.
Because you're not. Who sells a player that just got over an ACL injury in a winter transfer window?
Absolutely nobody. I think ultimately you sell him.
Correct.
Ultimately, you cash
if
in.
You want, you put him in sell. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fran García, keep.
Keep?
Keep.
I think you send on loan. Why keep?
Bro, because if Carreras isn't good, and you have Ferland Mendy, I think Fran García gives you depth on the left wing. And he's not world class. He isn't bad. He can play left wing, he can play left back, he can play left midfielder. He gives you reinforcement on the left-hand side. I think he's a good squad player.
Okay, that's fair.
And then Arbeloa, ciao.
Ciao?
Out, of course.
Right?
I think that's obvious.
Okay, I'm agreeing with Vinny Jr. He's the enigma, right? Fans were booing him, Nico.
Yeah.
It's a second or third time he's been booed. At what
he had
point,
to apologize to the Bernabeu.
At what point is this not enough? You know he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he's not, of course.
They can't play together. I'm not convinced. In order to win a Champions League, I'm not convinced that they can play together. To be competitive in La Liga-ish, okay, right? But for the standard this club has, for me, I know that Papa Perez has his own agenda, and ultimately what he says goes.
Yeah.
But for the sake of the club, if you're going to build a club around him, they can't coexist for me. And that leads me to, at some point, put him in the sell market.
Vini is either a keep or a sell player. There's nothing about loans. His contract is up not this summer, but the next summer. If you are going to sell him and cash him in at the highest you can, it's right now. Vini was a Ballon d'Or candidate, front-runner candidate to the prize that crowns the best player on this planet. Mbappe shows up and he is dropped significantly. There are many other factors that contribute to this, but I think a big one is playing alongside Mbappe, taking a secondary role. There needs to be a massive conversation about egos and those egos coexisting at Real Madrid. I hate to do this cross-sport thing, but in the first season when LeBron showed up at the Miami Heat with Dwayne Wade, there was a who is the main guy on this team debate. And between both of them, they were trying to figure it out. It almost was like they're going shoulder to shoulder. Like, no, this is my team. No, this is my team. No, this is my team. Second season, Dwayne Wade realized and said, I'm going to take a back seat. This is actually the LeBron show. And Dwayne Wade's points totals went down, but he understood that the team was LeBron's.
Yeah.
It's a 5-man sport versus an 11-man sport. I get it. It's different. But just, if you will, entertain this theoretically. This is Mbappe's team. I think that's obvious. And Vini looks angry. I've never seen a Brazilian angry play well. Brazilians are supposed to be happy, carnival, dancing all the time. And Vinicius there's this negative energy around him, and I think there needs to be a deep conversation because Vini can be the man at this point at any other club, I think. Any other club that he wants. But at Real Madrid, there's this tension that we all feel, that we all talk about, that we all consider. The fans' Madridismo de Bernabeu. And I think once the Bernabeu turns, they don't care. Doesn't matter what you did to the club. If Iker Casillas walked out through the back door of Real Madrid, anybody can. Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.